Hello, and welcome to another episode of How to Do Drugs. I am your host, Alia, and today I have Lindsey Jenningz.
Hey.
Hello, comedian, Suicide Girl, OnlyFans, one of my faves.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yes. I definitely wanted you on because I know besides, kind of doing sex work, right? You do OnlyFans. I'm not sure if you're a dancer or not. I mean, you have a bunch of money behind you. I love the background.
Thanks,
but
my room's a mess, so.
but like webcamming and stuff like that, and then Suicide Girls, which is always known, for like nude modeling. And then you also do comedy, which is how we actually met. Everyone's like, "Do you know who Lindsey Jenningz is?" Like, you need to know who she is.
Oh, I
um,
love that.
yeah, they're like, "You guys would get along." I'm like, just because like we both may suck dick on film doesn't mean we're going to be friends. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I hate when people say that to me and they're like, "Oh, you would love her," and I'm like, "Will I?" It makes me not want to like the person. I know that's like fucked up, but
it's kind of
I'm
just
like,
like,
really?
oh yeah, that's cute. I'm like, do you get along with all comedians? No, you do not. No, but
Exactly.
it is funny how people
Exactly.
categorize things like
They're like,
that.
"Yeah, she's got tattoos and colorful hair. You guys would be perfect for each
Yeah,
other."
you guys are great. You both like, you do comedy and you both like show your boobies, so like it's, you guys will get
Yeah.
along. Don't you guys all get
Exactly.
along? Wait, you guys don't all like touch boobies together? I thought that was like mandatory. Yeah.
Only half of us do.
Right. Depending on what we are on that day. Now, so we're just going to get right into it. Obviously, alcohol and weed, right? Those are things that you probably tried at a fairly young age. Like, when was the first time that like you got stoned?
Oh my God, I really can remember the first time I got stoned. Sorry, I feel like my camera is not, it keeps like, my ring light thing is it's weak, it's limp, it's like
It's
it's like
like
a penis
holding
that
on.
keeps
Dude,
going.
mine is like, yeah, mine is barely, it's just like a clamp thing, so I have no control over it. And I'm just like, okay.
Well, yours is staying fine, mine just keeps moving. No, okay, I can remember the first time I got high because I was one of those people before I smoked weed who was like, why do you have to smoke weed to have fun? And now after the after the first day I smoked weed, I have not stopped since.
Yeah.
um no, yeah, I was annoying. I had like a lie. I remember because my boyfriend smoked weed at the time, and I made like a live journal entry about it. I remember like just saying like, ugh. And then anyway, I remember that like my first time seeing weed, they ate it on pizza, which is like also not how you get high, you know? They had just like
Yeah.
sprinkled it on pizza like it was oregano. But no, yeah, the first time I got high, I had quite a emotional experience. It was an emotional roller coaster because I was really high and happy and had a great time. And I was like, I feel like when you first start smoking weed, you feel like you're hallucinating, even though like you're probably not, but like it's way more intense than it is when you've been smoking for years. So I remember like thinking, I just remember I was like, in my mind when I had my eyes closed, it was like Super Mario. And so I remember saying, I can't believe I've been living my life with 2 bricks on my face. And I just felt like I had bricks on my face apparently. And then I found out that because I didn't want my boyfriend to smoke weed. I told him I wasn't gonna date him. We were only dating for like a month at this point, but I was like, I'm not gonna date you if you do drugs and smoke weed.
How
I
old
was
were you? 15?
15,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Okay.
six months later, I'm a full-on drug addict. But yeah, no, I was like, I'm not gonna date somebody who does drugs, So he convinced me to try it, and he said it would be his first time smoking in a long time, saying that he hadn't been smoking. And then when we got high, his friend Patrick, who's still my friend, was like, hey Anthony, remember when we did this last night about something that we were doing? Because they made a bong out of a beaker from science class, and
Nice, yes.
they attached 2 hoses from like Home Depot or something. And so I put both of them in my mouth, And then that's when Patrick was like, oh, remember when we did that last night? And I definitely put them in my nose at some point too. I don't know. Yeah, like I just immediately was like a very intense pothead. I was like, overdoses in my nose. And then they were like, remember when we did that last night? So then I got into a huge fight with my boyfriend
Well,
because
yeah,
I
he
thought
lied.
he lied. Exactly. It's not even the fact that he did it, it's that he lied. And then so I was going in and out of being like happy in Mario and crying. Very, very dramatic. Very, very dramatic experience.
That's
Yeah.
we have a couple other experiences with Mario on this podcast, myself and then my girlfriend Ashley. Mario seems to be a theme when people are fucked up for some reason. Mario Kart, because we were driving.
It's they totally were on drugs making that game, or they like drugs because the mushroom makes you have more powers,
Yeah.
you know. You get more lives and stuff, so it just makes sense. It just makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, a lot of those cartoons like Scooby-Doo and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Okay, so pot was kind of a gateway drug for you then.
I guess so.
Was it the horrible cliche where it's like, oh, well, what else does this do? So what was the second drug that you tried?
Yeah, I hate to say that it was gateway, but yeah, I guess it was, because would I have tried those other drugs? I don't know. Okay, let's think. There was a point where we would try my friend's alcoholic. I had a friend who I kind of like grew up with who lived down the street, and that was like, I mean, of course my parents aren't perfect, but like they were like really good people who are not drug addicts or whatever. And then I would go to didn't let me watch scary movies when I was 4, you know, which is pretty normal. And I would go to their house, and then we were allowed to watch scary movies, and just I feel like that's where we did all our fucked up things. Anyway, yeah, so my friend's alcoholic mom always had different pills, you know, prescribed to her. So we definitely fucked around with those. We tried her Ambien and Suboxone. I remember I took Suboxone in school. First of all, obviously that's like, I mean, we didn't know what the fuck it was, but
I don't know what that one is either.
If you don't know what it is, it's for recovering heroin addicts, which also apparent there's a whole there's a lot about
it's kind of like a methadone kind of thing. Like I know what methadone is.
Exactly. So it's what is that called? Sublingual, when you put it under your tongue.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? And so you're supposed to let it dissolve in your mouth, but we didn't know that. So we just took it. So we got so fucking sick from it. And I just remember I was in first period, and I can remember this like nerd kid was like, are you all right? You look like a ghost. And I was like, I don't know. And then I had to like not go to the nurse because I didn't want to tell them, oh, I took drugs and I took my friend's mom's drugs. Yeah. So I just remember like being outside with my boyfriend, and he was like taking care of me, and the security guard was like, what's going on? And we're like, so I remember that. I remember taking Ambien, and like we used to play Ouija board all the time. I remember taking Ambien and like just hallucinating, and my friend saw a witch's hand go over my hand while we were playing the Ouija board, and she saw a bunch of fucking gnomes and shit. And then probably ecstasy was probably the one that might have been the second drug I did, because I can't remember the order, because that's what happens when you do drugs.
A lot of them, yeah.
But so ecstasy was like the best, you know, next thing, and then mushrooms also.
Yeah. How old were you when you tried ecstasy?
I must have been 16, I think, probably. Same boyfriend. Tried it.
Of course.
Almost tried everything with him. And yeah, he was the one who like ended up being like a real like I wouldn't say I was never like a drug addict, had a problem, but I've definitely like had times where it was close, you know. But I was, you know, responsible, never like ruined my life over it. He was, you know, the kind that ended up ruining his life over it. Apparently he's much better now though, has like a family and stuff. But I pretty much tried every drug with him. What'd you say?
No, I said, oh, that's good that like he's got a family, and so it's good that he cleaned up and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, age helps with that, like growing up and getting responsibilities and stuff like that can change people. Some people, not all people.
Yeah, plus his parents were like extreme drug addicts. That's a whole other story, but I watched his mom overdose in high school when I was like 16. And then like 6 months later, she was like taking me, no, what am I talking about? Not 6 months later. Literally the next time I saw her,
Mhm.
it was like Thanksgiving, I remember, and she was taking me to go get ecstasy. But she
Oh,
was
wow.
like, she was telling me to, how because she basically tried to kill herself, and she was like, telling me how you shouldn't try to don't try to kill yourself. It's not worth it. Don't do
Mhm.
drugs. She ended up dying from drugs, actually, but
Um,
that's a deep one. But
yeah.
both my boyfriends were named Anthony.
Okay.
One of them, the one that I lost my virginity to, years later ended up dying from heroin. What was I gonna say about that?
Had does it
Oh,
have Did you ever try heroin?
yes. And I was gonna say that sometimes I forget and I think that the other one died because it just seems like he would have died. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's where that thought, the whole train came from. Yeah. So I like forget about him sometimes because he doesn't have social media or anything. So I'm like,
Yeah.
wait,
Out of
did
sight, out
Anthony
of
die?
mind kind of thing. I get it.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, I tried heroin a couple times, and luckily I never shot up. But
Like snorting or
yeah,
or like lines of it. Yeah.
I sniffed it 3 times, and only because my drug of choice by that point, this is when I'm
Mhm.
like 17 or 18. By
Mhm.
that point, my drug of choice was cocaine.
Yeah.
But I mean, weed was always number one. Weed
Yeah.
became a constant, consistent, everyday kind of thing after
Mhm.
I started. Um, but yeah, so anyway, I had a friend who would want to do drugs with me, and she would offer to buy them, but she would want to do heroin. So then sometimes we would end up
Doing heroin instead of cocaine.
yes, but also I'd be like, I don't really want to do that. Can we get coke? So then she would just get both. So then we would end up doing both, which is a deadly combination.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, I mean, that's the couple of times I tried it. I was doing a bunch of cocaine and I thought that it was cocaine and it was not cocaine and
Did some that happens that that happened to my friend too, and I'm like, that's
yeah.
such a fucked up thing to do to somebody, like give them a
Yeah.
line and
Oh
just
yeah,
not
I
tell them what it
know.
is.
It
Like
was like,
everybody's gonna assume it's cocaine, dude.
yeah, you can't just bust out. Yeah. So after that experience, I was always like, I always did a taste test of every line. I mean, you live and you learn, you know what I mean? When in that, as long as you survive, you learn a lesson and move on.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do a taste too, but I think that's just because I prefer nummies to like
Nummy.
sniffing. I don't know why. Yeah. What do you call it? Everybody calls it something different. It's like some people call it
It
nummies,
was
some people call it
no, we called it.
freeze.
I always yeah, nummies. I always called it the nummies. But I haven't done nummies in a long time, mainly because like the cocaine has never been good enough for me to do nummies with.
See, I'm disgusting. I'll just like keep like my mouth will be completely numb and I'll just keep doing it. It's sick. It's like just it's crazy, honestly.
Like,
And
I
like
don't
it
mind it, but, I mean, because I also smoke Newport 100s, and so, like, after, there'll be, like, a little bit, like, after, I'll put a little bit, but, yeah, because then it will, like, freeze, like, like, my gums and stuff like that. I'm definitely gonna need to get, like, dentures or, like, implants or
oh my
something.
god, oh my god. Yeah, I've worried about that before. I'm like
Just from I mean, I
I have
didn't do it that much meth, but, it's just my family, we all have shit teeth, so I'm like, "Oh, okay."
me too. My family all has shit too. And like they look fine, but they
Yeah.
are filled with fillings. So many fillings.
I only have a
So
couple
many
fillings, I just
cavities.
have, like my gums are rising, I guess. I also smoke cigarettes, so that, is probably a big factor. Maybe I'll get mouth cancer next. How about that one? That would be a fun one. I'm
Oh
like
no. I oh no.
I know
I
people
did
get
have a receding
oh,
what were you
receding
gonna
what?
say?
No, 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 no. What were you
I
saying?
had,
Receding one?
I had a receding gum line because I had a piercing right here. What is that called? The Madonna or something like
Or the
that.
Maryland? Isn't that the Maryland?
Maryland. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Maryland.
Yeah.
And what's it called? I noticed that my gum was receding from it. That I pierced myself on ecstasy. So it brings it back around.
back around. Oh my God. I used to pierce my own nose, like, cause back in my day, they had at like Walgreens these at-home piercing guns. And so like I
Yeah.
did all of my ears at the same time. Like I have like 13 and 12. Like two of them, like my parents got me, but yeah, the rest of them. And I did them all at the same time. And I'm like, why aren't they healing? And like, so obviously took them out because they were infected. But I could still put stuff in them, which is so fucking insane. Yeah, I have like 3 or 4 fucking from my nose. I mean, I got like
Probably because those things are like thick, you know, they're like the sharp earring, and right, and you
yeah,
put
they
it in.
just push it through. I mean, I'm like,
Yeah.
you just touch me wrong and I'll fucking scar. It's getting so
Oh
sensitive
my
that
god,
way.
I did this.
But I was super fucked up when I did that. I was like, I could do this because like inflicting pain on yourself is kind of hard unless you're really fucking psychotic or you're fucked up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was definitely fucked up because I was doing the piercings even before the drugs. But like I ordered a bunch of piercing equipment online. So I was like doing it legit. I feel like this was like before YouTube. It was like maybe it was like when YouTube first started or something, but I was watching videos on like there was like websites, and I watched
Mhm.
videos of like how to pierce, and
Oh
I
my
pretended
God.
I pretended to be like a tattoo shop, and I ordered wholesale from a website. I like got one of those like Visa gift cards from the mall,
Yeah.
and I used that and pretended to be
Oh
a
my
tattoo
God.
shop. So I had a piercing business in high school. I actually got suspended for like a month for it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's hilarious. We use like fucking safety pins and shit like that. We use
well,
the cheerleading squad when we didn't have the internet when we were in high school.
I
I'm
did
sure it
that
would have been
before I
very
got my
bad.
piercing. I was piercing myself already, and then I was like, I'm just gonna get equipment because we did these. I still have all my earrings. I have like
Yeah,
I at one point I had like 20 or more in each. I still
yeah.
have like 18 in each. And we just took the dull earrings. We didn't even have those guns. We just shoved the dull earrings through
Oh,
our ears.
did you use the
And my
potato?
no, we
No.
were like so nonchalant about it. We probably didn't even sanitize our hands at that point. Like I remember
Yeah.
it was my friend who with alcoholic parents. I remember walking down the street and meeting her because we would meet each other halfway. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh, by the way, I need you to just shove this earring in here real quick. And she would just, I remember her just piercing my ear just on the street. And we also did it on the school bus. I pierced her nipple on the school bus.
Oh God. Yeah, 'cause
It
some of
was
that
like,
stuff you have to be careful though, because like I guess with your tongue, like there's different nerve endings and shit that you can.
oh yeah, no. I was honestly really good. I never had anybody had a problem. One girl like bled a lot, but she also smoked a million cigarettes right after, which I told her not to.
Yeah,
And she
that
got
was probably.
paranoid. She got panicked and like went to the doctor, and they were like, well, just it's fine, just leave it in.
You wanted it that bad.
Yeah, I'm like, don't go through all of that. But besides her, I never had any tongues bleed. I did like hundreds of tongues. I looked out for the veins. But the nipple thing on the bus was definitely dangerous. But I remember specifically like having her nipple clamped already. We were like, we do the marker dots,
Yeah,
clamped
yeah,
it,
yeah.
and
Oh
then when
God.
we waited till the bus stopped, and then the bus stopped, and I went like literally on the way to school.
Oh my God. I'm sure that if we had access to that kind of stuff, we probably would have done the exact same fucking thing. Kids are fucking teenagers are insane. Like it's
Oh
insane. Like
yeah.
insane. I think that the legal like adult age should be 21 instead of 18. I
Oh, I
really
I agree. And it's also like let's make the age the same for everything. Like if you can shoot a gun at 18, you should be able to have a drink.
yeah.
Don't you
Yeah,
think?
no. Yeah, no, that's definitely a big factor. Yeah, you're able to go to war because you're more malleable, they could fucking like train you to be these little fucking
Mm,
zombies. Yeah, you should be
exactly.
allowed to have a goddamn drink. So you actually like so you started doing like some pretty heavy drugs like still in high school, pretty young. Did that
Yeah.
continue on throughout your life, or did you like slow down? Because like I know when I was younger, it was definitely like an experimental stage where I'm like, I want to do it. I did a bunch. And then as I
Mhm.
got, it's like when I turned 21, it's like all of a sudden I was like, I stopped doing cocaine. Like I just smoked weed and I drank.
Yeah, I went through a similar experience. I remember when I turned 21, I wasn't even really drinking that much. I was like, because I drank like crazy out of high school, you know, because graduation parties. So like, I'd say this summer that I started driving when I was in 11th grade. So like going into my senior year is when I started to like really party, because my sister's grade graduated, so they were all having graduation parties, you know, the grade above us. So that's when you start drinking, and then I was one of those people. I literally have a shitty beer pong cup I still haven't covered.
Oh my God.
Because people would call it elbow, so I got it on my elbow. It's so stupid. And yeah, so I was one of those people who kept a beer pong setup and beer in my car, in my trunk, like would be drinking warm beer. It was disgusting. So now I don't drink beer anymore. I ruined it for myself because I would drink warm beer out of my trunk all the time.
Yeah, like every once in a while I could do beer, but I can only have like one or two, and then I'm like,
yeah,
okay,
I can taste it. Like I like a sip. I like the smell of it. I like fancy beers, but I cannot have a full beer. I can't do it.
No, yeah, I don't like. I could do like I'll drink a Corona. Like if I'm, you know, out working or whatever, I'll have a Corona. Because I'm like, oh,
I do
beer's
wine.
not gonna get me as drunk. No, because wine fucks me up now. So I'm like,
yeah, me too.
Wine fucks me up.
I just get fucking wasted on podcasts out of fucking comedy clubs and say terrible things, and then
just fucked up on fucking Sauvignon Blanc. Like who the fuck gets wasted on Sauvignon? This white bitch, that's who. So
I love it.
Yeah, so when I want to stay sober, I'll drink Corona because that won't get me drunk. Like you have to drink so many of them, and then I'm always having to go pee.
Oh my God,
and that's the worst.
I always have to pee.
Constantly, especially after you break that seal. It's just like fuck. And then if you're doing cocaine too, and then it's like, well, am I
well, then
going
you don't even have to pee.
Yeah, it's like fuck. Well, sometimes I'm like, do I have to pee or do I just want to do more cocaine? I'm like, I don't know.
I think like because I literally have to pee, like I could pee every 20 minutes probably. I'm a pee on the hour, every hour kind of person. Like if I'm going somewhere, I know I'm gonna have to pee. And I also just I like can't seem to do anything without having. I literally have 4 drinks right here. Without having coffee and water, I have to have coffee and water.
I'm drinking apple juice. I'm drinking my apple juice.
Yes, I have my green juice. All my drinks are for some reason blending in with the background. My Dunkin' Donuts coffee. It's ridiculous. But cocaine did become my drug of choice. And again, at my alcoholic parents. My friend's house with the alcoholic parents. I should just come up with a different name because I keep saying that. my neighbor. I'll just say my neighbor down the street. I remember the first time I did cocaine because her sister was selling it with her boyfriend. And so it was like super cut with creatine, like some sort of protein, which protein. Is it's at least better than doing like laxatives, you know.
I agree.
Or God knows what else, fentanyl. But so we got some shitty cocaine and we tried it, I remember, and it was okay, actually it was a little deeper than that, but I remember that my ex-boyfriend at the time, it was one of the Anthonys.
One of the
one
that's still alive.
He would like I had never done coke in my life, and he would, because it turns out he was doing it, of course. He was cheating on me, you know. He was just suspicious of all the things that he was doing, so he would think I was cheating on him, think that I was doing cocaine. I remember him grabbing my face and licking up my nostrils because he thought I was doing cocaine. And I was like,
taste it?
Yeah, I was like, that's pretty smart, but but that's disgusting. And no, I don't do cocaine. You do. Anyway, and then I ended up trying it, and I remember, so I was lying to him about it, and we had bought it for someone. Like our friend wanted it, so she gave us $100. We bought it for her, and we were like, yeah, we'll just we'll just try a little bit. And then obviously, you know how cocaine goes.
Be like, sorry,
so we just did all of her cocaine.
and had her money.
We're so fucked up. No, we gave her crushed up Tylenol. That's how fucked up we are. We fucking gave.
God. That's my ex.
This is gonna get me in trouble.
I mean, I'm sure the statute of limitations has definitely had passed. No, my ex, when I was a raver, he used to sell bunk pills, ecstasy pills every once in a while.
Yeah, might as well at a
Mhm.
rave. Like, no, they're not. What are they gonna do?
Yeah,
They're not gonna
no, so
find you again.
also
They're not gonna see you again.
huge pieces of shit, but we had karma come and kick us in the ass
But
because my
also, it's almost better that I gave them Tylenol. I'm like, wait a minute, actually, you should just do Tylenol and not cocaine. But sniffing Tylenol is probably pretty
oh
painful.
yeah, well, I used to like there was times when we would take like ephedrine,
Oh, what is that
like
again?
it's like the caffeine pills or whatever, like the super
Mm,
caffeine pills, like or no dose, like I used to work like third shift at a truck stop, so they always had all those types of like fucking pills around.
yeah.
So we would fucking crush them up. And in this at this truck stop, they had like the main building, where they had like the gas cars, and then they had like the side part for all the semi trucks. And there
Wait, where
inside,
did you live when you
oh,
worked
in
at a truck stop?
Wisconsin,
Oh, wow.
and so this part inside there was no camera. So me and my girlfriend Brenda, we used to like if we didn't have Coke or something, like we would
Brenda.
fucking pop up a bunch of fucking ephedrine or no dose, and that would just, oh god, make your eyes water, and just the taste of it. Like I could literally,
Ah.
oh, like I will never forget that taste. Yeah, just
Oh
disgusting.
my god. Oh my god. Yeah, I've definitely sniffed things that I shouldn't have that like tasted like shit, but you just want to get high.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my, yeah. It's funny though, because then like a year, either like a year or like a year and a half later, it must have been like a year later because I was still in high school. I was in gym class with this other girl and we were talking about cocaine and we
Mhm.
were talking, and then she told me a story about going to the girl who we got the Tylenol for. She was
Yeah.
like, yeah. She was like, oh, I went to her house. She said she had cocaine, and it was not cocaine. And I was like, oh. And I ended up telling that girl, I was like, dude, I'm so sorry you sniffed Tylenol. I was like, I gave that shit to her. I am sorry.
Kids are really shady that way though too.
We did. I remember we made a girl smoke oregano too, but that was because
We definitely did that. There was definitely an oregano thing. I remember some of my friends, I mean, they were just really dumb and they just found mushrooms out in the middle of the woods and
oh my
decided
god.
to smoke them. And that was real bad for their lungs. And like they ended up like in the hospital, like on respirators and shit like
Oh
that.
my
Yeah, because
god.
they picked it. I don't know what type of mushrooms, but apparently they weren't supposed to fucking smoke them, and it fucked them up.
Were they like poisonous or?
Oh, I think maybe one of the dudes was like allergic to just mushrooms or something. You know what I
Oh,
mean? And so
oh my
smoking it,
god.
yeah. And there was another kid because in Wisconsin there's a lot of binge drinking and stuff like that, especially in high school. I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah, we used to just drink copious amounts, just like insane amounts.
Yeah.
I would die now if I drank as much as I did when I was like 16.
Oh
It's
yeah.
true. It's true. Like I can have 4 glasses of wine and I am fucking hammered now. If I
Dude,
tried to
me too, hammered.
just waste, and if I tried, because I used to drink 3 bottles of wine in a night, and shots, and now I'm like I'm good, thank you. There's one
Oh
bottle,
yeah.
and then I feel
No,
like
that's when I
shit 2
want
for a week.
cocaine then.
Yeah,
That's when
and then
I'm
I'm
like, I
like,
need to.
so I try not like I'm like I'll have three
Yeah, me too.
glasses of
I'm
wine.
trying to avoid. I'm trying to avoid getting to that point because once I do, the night is gone, and we are either getting fast food and texting a bunch of dudes,
Yeah.
trying to get somebody to come over, or we are getting coke and we're up till 10 a.m. the next day. So
Yeah.
I have a joke about quitting cocaine, but like
Mhm.
I had never actually quit cocaine when I was doing that joke.
Yeah.
Um, but I actually now have
Have
really truly
truly.
quit. But for now, because I just got to a point where it wasn't like a fun thing anymore. Like
Mhm.
it's cool if it's fun, but if you're doing it and it's not fun and you're like in
You
your
just
room by
do it,
yourself,
yeah. Then it's
yeah, in your room
not.
by yourself, or like because I found myself, and I was really good for the whole quarantine in the
Mhm.
beginning. I found some old cocaine that was like in a
And
safe.
then you're
It was
like,
in a
well,
safe in my room.
that's
I couldn't.
hilarious.
I did not, because I'm at my parents' house in New York, and
Mhm.
I had been living in LA. I didn't even. I thought maybe there was money in the safe. Like I went to
You-
go check, because
Right.
that's what I got the safe for money, for
Yeah.
cash. Didn't, no money in there, just half a bag of cocaine. Like, oh my god, I don't even remember. It was at least 4 years old, so I did that, of course.
Of course, yeah.
And then it was decent, and I actually made it last 3 days, which was crazy.
Mm.
I like did
Just
small amounts, but
like little micro bumps or whatever. Just like,
yeah, but
ooh.
I am not a person who can do micro bumps, and so like
Mhm.
anyway, I was so good the entire pandemic, and I'm gonna try to talk lower because I am still at my parents' house. But I ended up telling my mom that I did that cocaine, because I was like, what's it called? She was, my nose was all stuffy, and she was like, "Oh my god, I hope you don't have coronavirus." I was like, "I don't have it," and then she was like, "Oh, how are you so sure?" And I was like, oh, "I did cocaine."
Cocaine.
I was like, "I'm sorry, but," and
It
it's
was
funny
in my
because
safe and I'm bored. And so your
I
parents,
had I stayed
sorry.
up all no, it's okay. I stayed up all night that night and like watched the sunrise with her,
Oh,
and
your
then
mom
told her
stayed
the
up with
next
you?
day.
Your mom
No, no,
stayed,
no.
oh.
Like she wakes up that early,
Oh.
and it was that my dog had gotten a leg surgery, and it was the first day that my dog could like run free on her own because she was healed.
Yeah.
And so we like were like, oh, let's go watch her, let her off the leash for the first time.
Mhm.
And then we let her off the leash, and I was, just fucked up on cake. But this is what made me be like, okay, I really cannot do this anymore. The fact that I went outside with my mom, watched the sunrise, had like 2 hours of like not doing cocaine, and then I
Mhm.
still came back and did more cocaine, and I was like I could have just like tried to go to sleep, and then then you're up for like 4 more hours just fucking completely miserable, wanting
Yeah.
more. And it was a situation where I got drunk doing like a Zoom show, had a good set, decided
Mhm.
to celebrate
Of
like
course, of course.
I'm like, oh my god. So I had, for some reason, I think I just was trying to be good. I didn't want to do that at my parents' house. Like, for some reason,
Yeah.
the whole quarantine, I was really not like getting it. And then I just decided, oh, let me see if my drug dealer will drop it off. And he did. And I was like, fuck. So I deleted his number after that day, because I was like, I don't want to have that access to it, because I thought I had to go to him.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't, because maybe if I didn't have a car at that time, maybe if I did, I
Mhm.
would have been doing it more. But
Yeah.
thank God I didn't. Anyway, so that's now that was December 28th.
There you
So
go. No, that's a good job. Yeah. This past quarantine, I mean, people have already heard, but yeah, no, that's all I did this past quarantine.
really,
Was just
really,
I did, well, a lot of mushrooms and a lot of acid, and then yeah, cocaine.
that's
And I was
good.
doing it, I was drinking, like, because I'm always thought like drinking at home by yourself, that means you're an alcoholic. I'm normally
Hmm.
never, even when I lived in Wisconsin, I never really drank at home unless we were having a
But now
party or
you're
something.
allowed to.
But now I'm like, well, now there's nothing else to do. Yeah. So like there's like one time I got myself so drunk, I woke up in my own bathroom and I'm like, I was serving myself and I did that. I'm like, 1 star. It was very bad. Yeah, but yeah, I'm like, I have nothing else to do. I'm like, and the world is kind of like in flux. I'm like,
It was totally reasonable, like it's like the
yeah,
world
and
is so
like I
crazy.
had
Whatever you do is
access
fine.
to it, and I was like, I wasn't hurting anybody. Like my bills were paid. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
I'm like, let's just get fucked up. I'm like, and now I'm like being more, obviously, like I haven't done it in
Now
months,
that
but
it's been a year, we're like, okay, maybe this isn't something we can
I'm like,
continue.
well, I mean, well, yeah, not an entire fucking year. Like it was pretty much just the summer for me. It was a
Yeah.
summer thing kind of for me. And then yeah, I was like, okay, now start a fucking podcast and like, starting to do more shows
Wow.
and stuff like
You're
that.
like, instead of doing drugs, I'm just going to talk about them on my podcast.
Yeah. This works out so much. It's so much healthier for me. Although I do a lot of acid and I like mushrooms, but those aren't like addictive. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
like doing
they
them
don't
every
count.
weekend. Yeah. I haven't
Yeah.
done either of those actually for a while. Um, either, as I just said, but I did pick up a bunch, and my guy who makes me
Ooh.
all my stuff, he's like, so I made these candies that have it's like 50% acid and then like 50% like mushrooms. And I was just
Oh my
like
God, that sounds terrifying.
and I'm like, well, because like I've totally mixed that. Like I've been on acid and like smoked DMT, like I've definitely
Yeah,
I
I've
like
done small amounts at the same time.
yeah, no, like I'm like, let's experiment with this stuff. Because as I've been
How
doing it,
was it?
oh my God, it was amazing. Like it was like one of my favorite, like I want to smoke DMT all day, every day. Like it's so great because like it doesn't last
I've
that
never
long.
smoked.
Oh my God, it's great. Like it only
That's
lasts.
one drug I have not done.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we should definitely try that for you. Try to get you some DMT.
I'm
Like I
so
had tried
scared.
it.
My
I
friend had a
mm-hmm. Oh no, go ahead.
sorry. I think we have like a little lag going on, so
A
it's
little
like
bit.
we
It's
both
okay.
start talking at the same time. Sorry. No. My friend had a DMT vape pen. Have you ever
Mm-hmm.
seen those? Have
Yeah.
you done those?
No, not the pens. I'm like, I don't know if I trust the
I
pens.
don't trust it either. I feel like it can't be the same experience, but
Yeah.
my friend was like moving into her apartment in LA and we were like looking through boxes and she was like, "Oh, here's my miscellaneous drug box. You want to try DMT?" I was like, I cannot do that so spontaneously. Like, I wish I could, but I'm like, yeah, cocaine, fine. But like, I cannot just be like, yeah, let me smoke DMT right now. I need to be prepared for that, I feel like.
Well, yeah, it's definitely one of those things that you want to be mentally prepared for, but it doesn't last that long. It only lasts like maybe 15, like 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending, on how
Right.
much.
But doesn't it feel like a long time?
Not necessarily. No,
No.
not like when you're on mushrooms, where
Yeah.
where it seems like you live like 900 lives and it's been an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not like that. At least not for me. Like I had tried it once when I was younger, but I was super fucked up on like ecstasy and a bunch of stuff. So I don't think that like I really got the full effect of it. And so strange that like I never even really tried to like get it anywhere else. And it wasn't until, this past summer they were talking about it. I'm like, dude, yeah, I want to like do that again. and then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
and then I got some, and now I have some DMT dealers from Twitter because I just tweeted out. I'm like, I need
Oh my
DMT.
God. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And I mean, I got like at least at least like 5 coke dealers that are in New York City. Cause like I was tweeting about cocaine because I'm fucking psycho. And then people are like,
That's
I have this guy and
so
I have this
funny.
guy
Oh
and I
my
have this
God.
guy. Yeah,
I'm
no.
surprised no one thinks you're a cop.
Well,
I feel like this.
I'm a verified account. And if they Google me,
Yeah.
like they see my tits. So they're
Yeah.
like,
They're like, all right, she's good.
definitely not a narc. Definitely.
But you would be a good person for the narcs to hire then,
Oh my
you'd
God.
be a great
Yeah.
cop.
I'm a really good person to just give your drugs to, like, if the cops are around, because I have a degree in police science. I mean, you're a white lady too, but also just being a white lady. But I also have a degree in police science. So like I'm an extra Karen when it comes to like cops and shit. So I'm like, just
Oh,
give me all
that's
your
good.
drugs. They ain't fucking with me.
All right, I'm gonna only get fucked up with you from now on.
I'm very safe. I'm like, just give it to me. They ain't gonna fuck with me.
That's oh, that reminds me. I have another good drug story.
Okay.
The only time I've ever done meth intentionally, I'm pretty sure I've done it a million
Okay.
times in my cocaine. But
Yeah,
because
sometimes they would mix it in a little. I mean, I used to mix it on purpose, but I'm crazy.
oh my God. Yeah, so I like was certain because I was like, I've done coke and I've done this coke, and I'm like, this seems like something's wrong. Like I felt like it was like meth. And then
Kind of
so
sticky, maybe like a little.
just like the way I felt and the way I was like up
Oh,
for
okay.
so long and
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So I and I had done Adderall and I know it's like semi similar. Adderall, I cannot do Adderall. It fucks me up way more than coke.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so anyway, so I was at a show. I did a show at this like LGBT bar in some random town in Long Island. And what's it called? I asked the DJ if he had a line, and he was like, "Of what?" And I was like, "Okay, so you don't have cocaine."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "No, but I have meth." And I was like, all right. Because I was like, you know what? I want to try it to see if it seems like I've done it before. And then I did it and I was like, oh yeah, I've done this before.
Yeah.
But
well, it
but
also has a very distinct taste to it too. It's
mm,
definitely, if you've been doing a bunch of coke, you may not know, but like, because I used to
yeah.
we used to do a lot of meth, and yeah, in Chicago. God damn it, so much. So yeah, so the taste, like I'm thinking about, I'm like, actually, we kind of did a lot of meth, Alia. We did a lot of meth.
um so then I didn't do it yet.
Mhm,
What's it called? I hadn't done it yet, and he gave it to me in a receipt, like
mhm.
folded up in a receipt, and I put it in my purse. And then the place got raided by cops because they had underage drinking there. Um, so I fucking anyway, the cops literally searched everyone in my circle.
Mhm.
And it was the one time that I brought my little brother to a show with me, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna get arrested when I have my little brother with me." My mom, and by little I mean he's like now he's 29. You know, like
Mhm.
he's we
He's just
and I think at the time I was like 27. He's just younger than me. Yeah, he's
mhm.
my little brother. But yeah, so he was like 25 or something. I'm not doing math correctly right now, but so I just was like, oh my god, I'm gonna get fucking arrested with fucking meth in my purse. My little brother, I don't fucking do meth. And then anyway, I just was like very respectful to
Mhm.
her. It was a female cop. She was searching everyone. And
Mhm.
I had my purse like right here, my armpit, you know, and I just was like, oh my God, I just came here to perform. I had no idea they had underage drinking. Oh my God, you know,
Mhm.
just really milking it and being like, oh, and she didn't search me, thank fucking God, because I would have been, I mean, she might have just seen a receipt and not noticed, but I was like, I was just so paranoid that I was going to get fucking caught with meth and that my mom was going to fucking kill me.
Oh my god. Well, they did like the special way of like folding. It's like anything that like with the paper bindles, as we call
Yeah.
them, the little bindles. There's very specific ways to fold it. So if it was like in a bindle, because a lot of times I know like there was dudes that we used to get weed from that would just put the weed in tinfoil and then just roll it up in a ball.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
would get, and it would just be enough for like a blunt, which is great. It was like $10 a
Yeah.
ball. And then yeah, the same. So, okay, what else did I want to ask you? Oh, okay. So since you do you've been a Suicide Girl for a while, I take it, right? You've been, yeah, for a very long time. I mean, you have the
Yeah.
email. Like you have a Suicide Girl
Oh yeah,
email.
now I have I've come up on in the ranks of Suicide Girls. I only got the email in 2019, but I became a Suicide Girl in 2013.
Mhm.
And to answer your earlier question, I
Mhm.
was a dancer with them for a while. I did
Okay.
their burlesque tour.
Mhm.
Um but I'm not like a real dancer. Like some of the girls are like professional dancers.
Yeah.
I'm just like a person who can kind of dance. It's mostly about the tits anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, so anyway, I started doing comedy after I toured with them as a dancer, and then they ended up like I ended up opening for them a couple times, and then I hosted the show doing my comedy too. And then the owner kind of roped me into doing merch and was like, "Oh, you could do your comedy too." So I did like merch and comedy for a couple tours, and then I ended up like slowly people just kept fucking up their jobs, so I kept taking people's jobs. So I like went from merch girl to assistant tour manager, and now I was actually supposed to do my first full tour. I tour managed for like a week on the last tour of fall
Mhm.
2019, and then April 2020 I was supposed to do a full Canada tour as the tour manager, and I was then at that point opening with a half hour, which is awesome. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll freaking tour manage if I get to do my half hour. Um, and then obviously the whole world shut down and that was canceled. So anyway, that's when I ended up getting the email though, is once I started doing all the
Doing all of
admin kind
that
of work
all of
for
that
them.
stuff, then you got the email. But also like having an OnlyFans and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and just being, and just like being a woman like online and doing like, well, I mean, it's still considered sex work, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
it's not like mine, you know what I mean? It's like lower level.
You're
It's
like,
not
I'm
like
up
entry.
here and you're down here.
It's like, well, like you may like be doing masturbation stuff, but like you're not, I don't know if like
Hmm.
you do it with other people or whatever, but I mean, just it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to get to is that it doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily matter if you are taking dick or if you're not, you're still seen as a woman
Yeah.
online
I
naked.
am.
Yeah, okay. Then yeah. So it like, yeah, so it doesn't matter necessarily, but do you find how do you feel about the stigma of people always thinking that people in our line of work are always on drugs? Like, do you have like,
Wow.
yeah. Do you have you ever had like, because I know that I've definitely had people would be like, "Oh, you're mentally unwell," or you're just on drugs. And like when I was in porn, like I made sure I stayed off of drugs because I didn't want to be that stereotypical porn star
Right.
in LA fucked up on cocaine and stuff like that. So how do you feel?
Right.
Like, have you ever been confronted with something like that?
You know, I actually don't think so, surprisingly. I mean, people say terrible things to me, but
Yeah.
but I'm like, I've also been pretty open about people say terrible, terrible things to me, but I've been pretty open about my drug use. I
Hmm.
tweet about cocaine and
Yeah.
stuff, but yeah, no, I haven't really experienced that too much. But it's if I have, it's just from the typical woman hating man who I'm gonna probably try to forget what he said to me after he says to me kind
Yeah.
of stuff anyway. So I feel like it's been mostly wrapped up in other insults. So I haven't really thought about that too much. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's like at this point, and I'm sure you can relate to this, knowing so many other people who work in this industry and knowing all the different types of people that you know in the industry, different
Hmm.
types of personality, people who are such responsible adults, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I just know so many girls who are like very responsible, have their lives together, business oriented people who do this
Hmm.
kind of work. So it's just laughable to me to think that anybody could still think that we're all drug addicts and
Yeah.
whatever, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but it's still like I
It's
noticed.
still a thing, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's still a thing, especially with what had just happened with all of those massage parlors getting shot up
Right.
and stuff
And
like
now
that.
I'm sorry, the lag.
No, it's
I
okay.
keep talking over you. Yeah, I have actually haven't been on social media as much lately, but I know that people were upset because people are making jokes, basically acting like these people's lives don't matter because they work at a massage parlor and maybe give happy endings or do sex work of some sort, right? Is
Mhm.
that the
Well, they,
general?
it's definitely like it's a racist thing because it was a white dude and he's trying to claim that it was sex addiction and like I even tweeted, I'm like, of course a dude is gonna go and kill 8 people if he doesn't get a happy ending. That's what men do.
Exactly. How many times has that happened?
Yeah, that's how men
It
operate.
happens over and over again. Oh my god, it makes me so angry.
Yeah, we've been talking about that
Oh
for a
my
while, but it
god.
also has something to do with the fact that, that these were Asian women as well. And then because there's all this hate, against the Asian communities right now because of fucking COVID and fucking whatever's fucking
Oh, it
and
makes me so mad.
and the Chinese virus and blah blah
Yeah,
blah. And
it's
stuff that stuff does affect and obviously so like it's a multitude of things and it's and some people are like, oh, it had nothing to do with sex work. They were just massage parlors or massage therapists. And it's just like a lot of people are like, well, no, man, we've been to those places, so it's like a bunch of
yeah,
people
wow.
because not every one of those places is a fucking happy ending place. Like that's also a stereotype to just automatically assume that every fucking
Right.
massage parlor with Asian women is a happy ending type place. Like that's just beyond ignorant. And maybe those are the places that he went to that they wouldn't give him a happy ending. So that's
There
why
you go. There you
they
go.
shot him and they weren't actually sex workers. So all sex workers are getting their feathers all fluffed for maybe no reason. But I mean, it's just a shitty thing. But it is like then, we just get all these stereotypes again with like, oh, you know, um, how people think that we need help and not like more resources,
Right.
that we're not that we
Right.
don't have the cognitive ability to be like, we need help, we're just sucking dick because we don't know what else to do with our it's like
Oh my god.
I'm sucking dick because I actually make a lot of money from doing, you know what I mean? So but
Exactly. Like I feel like it's like I've worked so many jobs. I've had so many different jobs. I've had things that could be a career. You know, I was like a really good hairdresser. I didn't want to be a hairdresser, and people are like, why don't you do hair? Like, oh, you've stooped to you know, getting naked on the internet. I'm like, because to make the money I'm making now doing hair, I would have to work like 12-hour days, which I was doing at one point, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
I still only worked 4 days a week, but I was going to school then too. But anyway, the point is, I work so, like, I can work so much smarter now. Like, it's like the people think because I'm stupid, or the people think I'm stupid because I do this work. I'm like, no, I do this work because I'm smart, and I'd rather, you know, chill and get naked in my bedroom than
And
to like
enjoy,
go to somewhere
yeah.
else. Yeah.
And actually like
Like,
live a life and not have to like just revolve it around work and repeating and paying
exactly.
bills. It's like, no, I can actually go and enjoy more things because of this one thing. Like
So
you're
true.
sitting there
That's so
like
true.
hurting your back or your fingers are bleeding. You're hurting your part of your body that way. I'm like, I get to have
And yeah,
orgasms.
and they're like, what's it called? You know, oh, you're selling your body. That's like the dumbest thing to me, because it's like literally everyone is
When
selling their
selling their
body. And
body.
even if you're selling your mind, you know, say you're like a smart person who does some sort of data or whatever the hell you do,
Mm-hmm.
you're still sitting there with your body, and sitting for 8 hours is way worse for your body than masturbating.
Masturbation is definitely more beneficial mentally and physically. It's the literal science. The scientists who know that. And it's great because there's certain people who like to do those types of jobs. And that's awesome because we need those types of people, but then we also need us types of people
Exactly.
to do that kind of
Exactly.
thing.
We make the world a better place, you
We
know?
really, really do. Just like drugs do. As long as done responsibly. It is. I always say
Yes.
that people that have prescription drugs that they definitely overuse, but they feel that it's okay because they're
Mm,
prescription, So
exactly.
that double standard kind of thing definitely needs to go away. Because when I started comedy, I've noticed that like a lot more comedians were definitely, getting more fucked up and doing more drugs. Like that's how I started doing cocaine in fucking New York, was hanging out with a bunch of fucking comics. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, me too.
I was like,
Not
oh, you
not like
motherfucker.
originally,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
like I went through the, like you said, I when I turned 21, I was like, it's like I got fucked up from like, you know, 17 to 21,
Hmm.
and then I was kind of like, oh, getting in a healthy mode and like
Yeah.
working out and not drinking as much, not doing as many drugs. Then I moved to LA, and then
Hmm.
slowly drinking more, partying more. Then I
Hmm.
started doing comedy, and then I was like, okay, now I'm doing cocaine every night.
After years, yeah, a really, really
Yeah.
long time. And but people always look at comedians, some people look at, you look at like George Carlin or something like that, or like a Louis Black. People are like, oh, they're speaking the truth. It's not even just you know what I mean? They see them as like almost like prophets or preachers or something like
Yeah.
that.
And it's like, no, he's just on a lot of cocaine.
And like he's just on a lot of cocaine, while the sex worker is like, you're a dirty whore and you're the fucking dirty drug addict. You know what I mean? It's just so funny how it's like, they're not all that bad. We're actually
Yeah,
quite normal. Very, very
absolutely.
normal when it comes with that stuff. Okay, so what is well, you said cocaine was one of your favorite drugs. What is your least favorite drug? Do you have
I
one?
guess I'm like, I guess
Hmm.
heroin, because I just didn't like it, and I also had a lot of friends who died from that. I had friends who died from, you know, most of the time it's a mixture, you
Hmm.
know. Like the first friend who I had who died from drugs, it was like, I think she took like Xanax and Roxy's at the same time.
Oh wow.
But yeah, heroin. I just knew a lot of people who ruined their lives from heroin, and just in and out of rehab situations. A lot of dead people. Long Island is just, you know, I'm from Long Island.
Yeah.
It's super. It comes out when I say Long Island.
Long Island.
Yeah, super saturated with. It starts with prescription drugs, like you said,
Hmm.
and it's just so crazy that there's a stigma where people think like smoke. You know, I remember my ex-boyfriend's not the drug addict one, different ex-boyfriend's
Hmm.
mom was like super against weed, but all about prescription drugs, you know. She was like, oh, here, take this Ambien to go to sleep.
Instead of smoking a joint. Yeah. My stepdad is kind of
exactly.
like that too. He prefers alcohol over weed, and like prescription drugs are fine
Yeah.
because the doctor gave them to
What?
you.
Yeah, exactly. When they don't realize, first of all, the doctor's getting wined and dined
Yeah,
to
push these
prescribe you
drugs.
those drugs. Oh fuck, you just reminded me of something and then I lost it. Oh, people who drink, who judge you for smoking weed. What is up with that? It's just because
Yeah,
alcohol is more like
because
alcohol is
it's
normalized when it's so much more fucked up.
it's way worse. Yeah, like it fucks up your body a lot worse. Like people aren't going to rehab for smoking too much weed. Like, is there such a
Exactly.
thing? Like, I don't know.
I think that if you do, you are the joke of the rehab. For sure,
people
they're
just be like,
this one fucking
right? What are you in for? I smoke too much pot. Bitch, get the fuck out. What the fuck is the matter with you? Smoking too, there is no such thing as smoking too much weed. Fucking
yeah. It's actually I said I did this article when I worked at a weed shop for LA Weekly. They were like interviewing what's it called, bud tenders, and I made a joke. I was like, just joking, I was like, oh yeah, dabs are like the crack of weed, because I mean they kind of are.
Dude, I've literally have been saying that ever since I got my first dab kit. I was like, this feels a lot like smoking crack. And
but also you get so fucked up too.
Yeah.
And anyway, I got in so much trouble at my weed shop because people started calling and being like, this is my medicine.
Oh
yeah, no, not for crack. That's hilarious. No, they were calling, being like offended that I called dabs the crack of weed, because I was like, I was basically like, well, you know, it's better than being on heroin, but I feel like sometimes when I take dabs, I feel like I'm on heroin. I'm just like, freaking.
Yeah, it's the stonest I've ever been. 5 hours of just that perpetual, like the first time you got fucking stoned, and for 5 hours, and I'm like, this is
nodding out.
Yeah, it's just real hungry. Yeah. I always get real, like whenever I get like obnoxiously stoned, and it's normally if I do edibles, like if I eat edibles, then
Me
I just
too. Oh my God.
I'm like, just have food in the refrigerator. Okay.
Yeah, I can't stop eating. I cannot stop eating when I do edibles. That's why I cannot do edibles, because I'm just like I wake up in my bed with snacks and crumbs everywhere.
Yeah, just ridiculous. Like I'll wake up and I'm like, what the fuck did I do? Because I have bags of candy, like little mini, like Snickers bars, you know, candy bars and stuff like that. I have cookies, I have fucking ice. Yeah, because I'm a fucking fat kid trapped in this fucking amazing body. I just eat fucking junk food. I just eat junk food. Awesome. But yeah, but it's not good for me. I'm like, oh, this is like, I definitely feel that, like the amount of sugar that I eat.
Do you also eat vegetables? Like, I feel like a good balance is fine.
Yeah, no,
a good balance is fine.
I do eat vegetables, and like I take, well, not too many supplements, but yeah, no, I eat healthy, but at the same time, like I also, especially if I'm up later at night, I notice that that's when I snack more.
Me too.
Like right after like 1 a.m. and I'm like, okay, one more bowl and I'm going to finish working on this. And then all of a sudden I'm like, what do I got in the refrigerator? Like,
yeah. Wait, do you ever, when you do edibles, just wake up in the middle of the night and eat? Because I'll like pass out, wake up, and then eat a full meal, half asleep. That's edibles for me.
I have woken up, like there was a couple of times, like I was just like, oh, because I normally don't eat in bed. Like I don't have a TV. Like I never, even growing up most of the time, I never liked having a TV in my room. I don't eat in my room. It's just this weird thing. But there's a couple of times I would, and plus like I have a fucking studio apartment, so like my living room is my bedroom, you know. It's kind of the same.
So where do you eat? You're like, I don't eat in my house.
I eat on the roof. But no, like I just got some chips and like some fucking like string cheese, and I'm like, eating in bed is actually really nice. Like that's how high I was. I was like, why haven't I ever thought of this before? Like, this is the greatest. I'm like, I don't have to get up. I could just put the chips, like the packages down here, and pick them up in the morning. But then when I woke up in the morning, I saw, I'm like, that's disgusting.
Disgusted with yourself. Yeah, I do that. I did that last night. but actually last night I ate a vegetable platter before bed. So I was like, at least it was all vegetables. But
Dude, I
I
can fucking get down on a vegetable platter, especially with like ranch or like
so good.
dill dip. Yes.
Yes. Yes. I made my own mini platter. I was very proud. I was like, wow, I'm snacking on vegetables at night. This is crazy. But yeah, normally no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say sometimes your body just knows what it needs, and like I'll crave like carrots or something. I'm like, I really want a carrot or something with
very randomly.
Yeah. I'd be like, I like beets. I'd be like, oh, I need iron. Yeah, there's certain times.
Well, that's like, it's like intuitive eating, but we're like so programmed, like we're so programmed by diet culture to like go on diets and stuff. You have an amazing body, so maybe, I don't know if you've ever been a dieter, have you?
When I was younger, in my 20s and stuff, but when I was in Wisconsin, I was like, I guess I was like 160. The most I ever weighed was 184. So like but I'm 5'11" too. So like I was like a size 13.
Wow.
Yeah. So like it didn't really
I'm
matter.
around there right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was gonna say, how tall are you? Because like height and stuff.
I'm 5'8". I'm 5'8", so okay, so
you're tall. You're above average for women.
Yeah. I'm tall for women. No, but I don't know. I have I'm not going to go into a crazy diet culture rant, but I have recently learned a lot about diet culture and how fucked up it is and how much it fucks us up when like we're born, you know, like we'll eat all different types of things, and sometimes you want vegetables, sometimes you want sugar, you know, but like you are able to stop then because you don't think, oh, I need to stop eating this tomorrow. But a lot of times when you're in that diet mind frame, you're like, okay, I'm being bad this one time, but I'm going to be so good in the future. But you don't actually have that self-control, so then you just go through this binge and restrict cycle that fucks you up. So
yeah, and you end up not losing weight most of the time, like you end up gaining weight and stuff like that.
90, I think the actual statistics that nobody seems to like pay attention to, and even people will acknowledge it, but they still will like think it's on them and that's why they're so fat. But the statistics are that 98% of people are going to gain more weight back than they originally had anytime they go on a diet, because all these studies, like all these supplements and all these, you know, foods and whatever, they'll be like, oh, you know, they lost 100 pounds on hydroxycut or whatever. They only study them for like 6 months to a year.
I used to take
when really within 5 years, everyone. Oh yeah, me too. In high school. In high school, that's how fucked up we are. They let you buy hydroxycut when you're a teenager. That so. And I was so skinny. I mean, I was skinny before that. Like I thought I was fat. You know what I mean? Now I am fat.
Now you're like, now I'm a little bigger. Yeah, hydroxycut. I try to appreciate that. Ugh.
No, it's bad. And yeah, my friend did an ad for them, and they did make, you know, she did take the hydroxycut for like 6 months or something, but they also made her follow a very strict diet and a very strict workout plan. So it's like, and then, you know, they say, oh, results from hydroxycut, but it's like, obviously it was the diet and exercise that made her lose the weight, not the hydroxycut. Maybe it helped, but
I don't, well, I mean, that stuff it was just kind of like caffeine, you know what I mean? It just gave you more energy. Yeah. It just felt like more caffeine pills than anything else. I never I never lost weight. I always said that the best diet ever is stress and cigarettes. That's how I've stayed so skinny for most of my life. But yeah, I lost most of my weight when I quit drinking heavily. I lost
that has never worked for me. I
lost like 30 pounds.
I stopped drinking and I gain weight because I just eat sugar instead of getting drunk. Like now I just get high and eat a lot instead of getting drunk and doing cocaine. So I don't know what's better. It's like I'm going one way or the other. There's things aren't good.
That's super fun. All right, it's been so much fun to have you on and to chat with you about drugs. Where can people find you? Do you have anything to promote? Let the people know.
Thank you for having me. At Lindsey Jenningz with a Z on all the socials. That's Lindsey with an E. So LINDSEYJENNINGZ, and OnlyFans.com/Lindsey Jenningz, spelled the same way. Get my OnlyFans. I just bought a car, so I need money.
I want a car
And that's
so
pretty much.
bad. I want a car.
Yeah, but you live in the city, right?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I was gonna get a car last year, but then a bitch got cancer, so now I have to wait
Oh my
to get a fucking
God.
car. It still started with the C though. I definitely got something with the C. It's just not what I fucking wanted.
And so that money like went to cancer, or you weren't able
Oh
to
no, I have
work, or
insurance.
how?
No, I have insurance or whatever. But yeah, like there's still some things that I had to pay for. I also still need to talk to the insurance company because there's still like it still has like the $30,000. They're like, oh, your doctor wasn't covered under the insurance. I'm like, yeah, the doctor actually was.
Oh
I
my
just haven't yet
God.
because it's medical stuff, and I'm like a child when it comes to this stuff. I'm like, fuck them.
Me too.
I'm like, I shouldn't have to pay medical fucking nothing. You know,
Dude, it makes me so fucking angry. Oh
I'm
my
like
God.
$30,000. I'm like, suck all of my dicks. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah, but it's just like people don't get paid enough money to have to pay so much. It's like if everybody was rich and everybody was the CEO, but like I'm not gonna get started on
Yeah.
let me not get started
healthcare.
on the whole
On
pay
healthcare.
gap problem and the issues with healthcare and our judicial system, but it's all so fucked up. Anyway,
It
I
is.
love you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. I will.
I'm glad you don't have cancer anymore.
Me too.
You'll get a car.
I will. Oh yeah, no, I'm
You'll
still getting a
get a
fucking car. Fuck that. All right, you guys. This has been How to Do Drugs with Alia Janine. You can find us on social media. How to Do Drugs. How to Do Drugs Pod on Instagram, and check out the Patreon. How to Do Drugs Pod. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.